how did you end up moving to Germany? When did that take place?
Yeah, so that was very random, man. So it was me and a friend of mine. We both did comedy. So I started comedy in New York City. That's where I started comedy, and we just decided to kind of go out and do some cities in Europe. So we were like, hey, we'll do some comedy because we went to Barcelona before, did some comedy. People was telling us about, hey, man, you gotta go to Berlin. There's some other cities you could do some comedy. So we kind of just went on some, all right, like, yo, there's comedy out there. Let's just see where it goes. So we went to Paris, went to Amsterdam, Rotterdam, went to Berlin, Germany. And then Berlin just kind of reminded me of New York City in a way where it's just like, wow, it's a lot of hustle and bustle. And then also I was able to get up a lot comedy wise. So then we went back to Paris and my friend went up to the UK. Then I went back to Berlin. I was there for about like a week. Then somebody was like, yo, man, you got to stay for May 1st. So then I extended my time a little bit. I was working remotely. And over time, I was doing good, having a good time. I'm doing good on shows. And then eventually some comedians are like, hey, so when are you going to move here? I'm like, move here. This is my first time in Berlin, Germany. I never thought I was going to be here. Like I had no plans of ever going to Germany. That was not on my bucket list ever in my lifetime. It just random. And he was like, yeah, you can get yourself an artist visa, a visa that allows you to get a visa that you're able to do as long as you're able to prove that you can make money from the art that you do. So I was like, really? And it gave me all the steps on what to do, all the resources. And I was in a point in my life where I was like, you know what? Like, I ain't got no wife, I ain't got no kids, I ain't got no like serious responsibility. Why not? So I sold everything in New York City, put everything into a carry-on suitcase and a book bag, and just moved out. And then I figured it out. So it was like very, very, very random.
Yeah, so it was like a Euro trip in general, like doing some dates, and then you just happened upon Germany. Like it could have been in any of the other countries, hypothetically.
It literally could be. And like I had plans of going to France because France has like this clown school. It's called Philippe Gallier or something like that. So I was planning on actually doing that. So I was actually planning on going to France, not going to France and probably being there for like a bit, like probably for like a year or 6 months or something in this school. But then I came across Berlin and then they told me about that. I was like, so you can get a visa for the art that you do, and as long as you prove you can make some income from that? I'm like, what? So then, yeah, I did it. And then, bro, I had the appointment, did it. I only had like a couch from a guy that I met in Paris. He's also a comedian that he said he lived in Berlin. So he's like, hey, man, my couch is open. You can crash on my couch. So I'm like, all right, cool. Just met that dude 6 months ago, random country, right? So it was very, yeah, no plan. It was very crazy, to be
So you're
honest.
kind of a spontaneous guy, it sounds like.
I couldn't argue with you. I could not argue with you.
Because I mean, that sounds fun. That sounds exciting. It sounds like an adventure. But I think for a lot of people, it also sounds kind of crazy.
It now looking back at me like doing that, it's crazy because so many things could have gone. Like I had a visa appointment. That was the only thing I had that was concrete. Because obviously, when you're in Europe as a United States citizen, you have a visa, the Schengen visa, and as long as you're in the Schengen country or the Schengen region, or so you can stay in the countries that are in that region up to 3 months. So that's the only thing I had, the 3 months, and then this visa appointment. And people tell me, yeah, it shouldn't be no big deal. It's all right, it's fine, but you need a lot of paperwork. So, and it's not guaranteed. Sometimes you might get 1 years, you might get 3 years, you might get no years. I have friends that got denied. They had to redo it again to get their actual visa. So yeah, very spontaneous, bro. Very spontaneous.
And so, like, you guys went there specifically for comedy. That's why you went to Europe.
Yeah, for comedy. Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know all of the origins of stand-up comedy, but I think the U.S. is kind of known as like the birthplace of stand-up, or at least where it kind of became popular. And so, like, why go to Europe in the first place if it's like this? If you're in the birthplace of comedy in New York.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good question. A lot of people ask me that all the time. And, I did New York, I did comedy in New York for a while. That's where I started. That's where I did majority of all my comedy, right? But I think it was just one of those opportunities where I was like, it's just fun. It just felt fun to be like, okay. Because even a situation where I'll do like a show and then somebody will be there and they'll be like, yo, man, I really like your stuff, man. Whenever you're back in Europe, I'll come fly you out to like Estonia or something. I'm like, what? Hold on. So you're gonna fly me out? I never got that type of situation in New York City, right? So then I was like, all right, I mean, if all these things are coming my way, Why not? And then New York City ain't that far from like literally you can get a direct flight from Berlin to New York City for like what round trip maybe like 300 euro like $300 €300 or something.
Whoa.
So ain't like I can never I went to New York a couple months ago. So when I looked at it, I'm like New York is literally right there. Ain't going anywhere. I got family there. Like I ain't like like I'm leaving New York behind. I can never go. It's a direct flight, literally from I can just go. I just came from the airport today. I can just go right over there, direct flight to New York City.
Yeah, you don't have to choose, I guess. You don't have to only do comedy in one city or one country for that matter. You can do comedy, I guess, in different places, and you see that with comedians, right? Doing world tours, going to a bunch of different countries. I mean, how does that work? Like you do comedy in English, right?
Yes.
So like I always wonder when I see people that do these international tours, like you're in Barcelona, then you're in Berlin, then you're in Paris, and like do all of the jokes translate? Like, do all of those European countries have a large enough community of English speakers that are interested in comedy and are able to understand it? Or like, how does that work linguistically?
Yeah, so for one, English is spoken, I mean, pretty much at this point worldwide. Like, I mean, it's one of those de facto languages. It's the de facto language if you can't speak the origin language of that country or a language of a country that's adjacent. So English just happens to be the default. Somebody speaks Spanish and they're in Sweden. I mean, English becomes the default of how I find how to get to the main train station.
Yeah.
So a lot of people understand English and speak English. In terms of references and things, that's where it can get a little tricky. So there's going to be some contextual things that maybe are rooted in American culture that are not understood fully in cultures outside of America. And each of those things vary. So, for example, like I'm on tour right now. So I was in Copenhagen, I was in Finland, I was in Malmö, I was in Gothenburg, going to Madrid. I'm going to all these different places all over. And each of these places have different temperaments, different understanding of English, different references. So, it can be tricky for each country, each city, because it goes based on the entertainment that was prevalent from an English perspective in those countries or in that city. So, it's down to all right, what was they playing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air a lot over in this country or not? Or was they playing mostly French, speaking something, or did they not import, did it have Disney Channel? Did they not? Well, no, maybe they had Disney Channel over here. Maybe they had Nickelodeon over here. Somebody saw Hey Arnold over here. They never seen a Hey Arnold. So you just choosing it day by day, or not, or country by country.
And so, how is it in Germany specifically?
Germany, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Germany and Berlin specifically, because Berlin, they say, is not Germany, it's different. And yeah, Berlin has its own vibe. It is not a representation of Germany at all. But I will say that it has enough of a expat immigrant community, a lot of people from all over the place, that English is something that people understand. And from a standpoint, stand-up comedy, I mean, it's a lot of it. English stand-up comedy is, I mean, every day you can go up on stage and there's audience. So people, yeah, I'm surprised still. People understand and people laugh out here in Germany, contrary to the popular belief.
So, are there like German stand-ups and English-speaking stand-ups in the same clubs?
Yeah. So you have some shows where they'll have like shows or comedy nights or so that'll have like German comedians, and then they'll have like an English speaker in the middle, or they'll just have like a straight show where it's all I mean, obviously German speaking is we're in Germany, but then most of the shows and mics there's a lot of English stand-up comedy.
You said that Berlin doesn't represent Germany as a whole. What does that mean? What's different about Berlin in comparison to other German cities?
Well, for one, Berlin is very diverse in many different ways, in ways that you didn't think diversity can come. Like, I mean, obviously, we think about racial diversity and things, but there's diversity in like religion, diversity in clothing, diversity in, what you into in terms of relationships, as sexual wise, all like everything. Man, there's diversity in the color of shirts you have. You might be seeing something you're like, wow, okay, I never knew that type of shirt existed, right? So Germany, for all the other cities in Germany tend to be a little more conservative, a little bit. Not that much to do. So like small town type of vibes. Whereas Berlin, I mean, it's almost like New York City. They got like specific sections where if you want to have a good time, bar hop, you go over here. If you want to kind of chill and be regular, you can go over here. If you want to go something trendy where you kind of, dressed up, there's like a literally a part of town that's that's in Berlin where you can go there and it's like drastically different.